And one of the people who has been a great campaigner and supporter for the Palestinian people and has been involved in both Stop the War and in the Palestine Solidarity Campaign is our very great friend Jeremy Corbyn.
Thank you, Kamal, and I'm so pleased you got back safely from Jerusalem and that your family for the moment are safe there. First of all, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone that's come here today. This demonstration was called at only a few days' notice, and look at the size of it already. And look around you. We are all people committed to support the Palestinian people. We have lots of differences. We have different faiths, we have different political views, we have different nationalities, different communities. We're united, and we're united in sending a message both to our government and to the wider world concerning the plight of Palestinian people. But the phenomena of meetings and rallies in London is not unique. We turned out 150,000 people 2 weeks ago, the biggest ever demonstration anywhere in Europe, possibly in most of the world, in support of the Palestinian people. And next time it'll be even bigger. We are not going away. No. And then all around the world, massive demonstrations took place in South Africa, in India, in Pakistan, all across South Asia, demonstrations in support of the Palestinian people. All across Latin America, demonstrations in support of the Palestinian people. And it's had an effect, had a big effect. The Chilean government suspended trade. The Argentinian government took action. The Venezuelan government took action. The Ecuadorian government took action. The Bolivian government took action. The Brazilian government took action. Brazil. Why? Brazil, I did say Brazil, yes I did. I said that twice now, okay. There's a Brazilian in the front row here, it's okay. And I want to say a big thank you to all of those people, because not only have they acted and forced their government to do something, they've also encouraged their own governments to vote for Palestinian recognition at the UN. In Mexico, there's been demonstrations every week in the center of Mexico City showing their support for the Palestinian people, and not publicized, massive demonstrations all across the USA in support of the Palestinian people. Now, I got a message from my great friends in the Longshoremen's Union in San Francisco. They have been blockading Israeli vessels. They have been taking firm industrial action. The great Jack Hayman, as ever, has been leading the cause for the Palestinian people. Massive demonstration of rabbis in New York against the bombing of Gaza. And so it kind of matters that we're doing this. And I was very impressed and very pleased when I got a message last week. I'm sure many of you have seen it because we put it out on the social media as quickly as we could. 10,000 people demonstrated in Tel Aviv against the Israeli government's bombing of Gaza. So when they tell us we're a narrow sectarian bunch, sorry friend, you're wrong. We are representative of all decent people who think it is simply wrong to kill 2,000 people in Gaza, render 500,000 homeless, deny clean water to 1 million, and continue that rotten siege that the people of Gaza are suffering at the present time. But I think we should also just think for a moment about the wider situation facing Palestinian people, essentially in 3 different sectors. The first, because they're often, I say this first because they're often forgotten, are the refugees living in the camps in Lebanon, in Syria, in Jordan. It's been a privilege, yes, a privilege to meet many of those people in camps in Syria and in Lebanon in the past. And there's something deeply humbling about talking to older people who've spent their whole lives in refugee camps in those countries. They can describe every last detail of the village they left behind in 1948. When you're a young person, memory is very vivid of your life as a young person. Their dream is their right to return home. I support that right, and I'm sure we all do here today. And then there is the sort of wandering Palestinian refugees one meets all across the region. Some years ago, before the conflict in Syria became as intense as it is now, there were a large group of Palestinian refugees who had been driven out of Iraq following the US and British invasion and had not managed to get into Syria and were stuck on a no man's land between the two frontiers, in the desert, in winter, in horrible conditions. A small delegation of us, Jenny Tong, myself and a few others, went to visit them in those camps. And I met families there who described their life, how their grandparents had grown up in what is now Jaffa, been expelled with Nakba, and gone on an odyssey of one country after another around the region, only to be expelled and expelled and expelled again. And they were finally stuck in this horrible camp on the frontier between Iraq and Syria. And they said, when are we ever going to be able to go home? They can apparently try for asylum anywhere in the world except the place that they have come from. Let's just remember the refugees whenever we demonstrate